topic, Parah Duma, perhaps the primary theme, of course, in the pages of Parshas Chukas, Zos Chukas HaTorah. Let's towards Siyata Dishmaya, to well-known Gemara, towards the end of Maseches Moed Katan. We're holding by Daf Chav Ches Aman Aleph, at the end of Eilam Megalchen, and we have a famous memory of Rav Elazar, V'Amar Rav Elazar Zok De'Elige Gemara, that Af Miriam, she died Misas Neshika. And then we have Rav Ami's memra. Amar Rav Ami lama nismacha misas Miriam in the Parshas Parah Duma. Why the juxtaposition of misas Miriam specifically to Parah Duma? Azok Rav Ami ma Parah Duma mechaperes. Af misasan shel tzadikim mechaperes. Just as Parah Duma, its ikar tachlis is to be mechaper, so too misasan shel tzadikim mechaper. As we mentioned in the past, the Hara of Soloveitchik on the Kinnis, we have the well-known Gemara Shoshana, and there the Gemara tells us that Shkula misasan shel tzadikim kesreifas beis Elokeinu, that when they die, it's mamish kesreifas beis Elokeinu. The Ksam Sefer brings as a Midrash Shocher Tov that actually says it's even worse, chamura yaiser, from Sreifas Beis Elokeinu. That's mitzad echad, but mitzad sheni, even though yes, we have an Indian of the misa, the demise of a tzaddik is equated, who perhaps is even more harsh than losing the Beis Hamikdash itself. That's mitzad echad. Mitzad sheni, there's a maila. What's the maila? The maila is it serves as a kapara. Ma misas Miriam mechaper, misas tzadikim mechaper, just like Parah Duma. And then we have Rav Elazar continuing, why Misas Aaron to Big Day Kahuna? Ma Big Day Kahuna Mechaper Av Misasan Shotzadikim Mechaperes. Big Day Kahuna, we know, comes as a kapara. The question is, the Gemara is using the same terminology vis-a-vis Parah Duma. Ma Parah Duma Mechaperes. What do you mean Mechaperes? It's not coming as a kapara, it's coming as a cleansing, as a purification process to be matar someone who is Tamei Meis. So Taisus bavorns the kasha. Zok Taisus ma Parah Duma mechaperes perush al ma'isa ha'egel. Dainu, it's not coming bebechinas like a korban chatas that's coming for regular sin. It's coming for tumas meis. But why is there the Indian of tumas meis? It all goes back to the chet ha'egel. That's similar to what we spoke about last night. That's when Misa came back to the world. We had dargas adam rishon kon v'chet. We were masuluk legamri from Misa, and then when chet ha'egel brought Misa back into the world. Plus, the whole Indian of Tumas Meis now, how do you achieve the kapara? But it's not really a kapara, it's a tahara. But Zok Taisus, how do we answer the Lashon of Mechaperes? It's a kapara for Chaytag, and that's Rashi B'Shem Moshe Darshan at the beginning of the parsha, and that the mother comes to clean up, to be Mekanech Tzoaz Bina, so to Yesinu with the Egel, along will come the figurative mother, the Parah, to clean up the mess. Taisus Bavorns the Lashon of Mechaper. That's what we have in our Nusach, Ma Misas Miriam Mechaperes. However, Rav David Yoel Weiss in his Gavaldige Sefer Megadim Chadoshim, he cites Rav Yonasan Eifshitz and Chelek Beis of his Yaros Damash and Drush Yud Aleph, and he cites our Gemara. And he says, what's the Lashon of Gemara? Lama nismacha misas tzadikim the Parah Duma. We don't have just misas tzadikim, we have misas Miriam to Parah Duma. Ma para mitaheres, af misas tzadikim mitaheres. He doesn't have the Lashon mechaperes, he has a Lashon mitaheres. The idea is that what misas tzadikim is mitaher asiyah sarah. It's a cleansing, purging, cleansing process. I found the shiltus in this week's parsha, Parshas Chukas, Shilta Kufla Gimel, and the Lashon this Shilta says Ma Parah Duma Mechaperes Umal Asiso Mituma L'Tahara. Tahainu, there's an Indian of Kapara and there's an Indian of Tahara. Mela, we see in the Shiltas already, Rabbi Chai Gon, this Indian also of Metar, and then he brings a Smach, a Makor L'Devrayim, a Medrash Lekach Tov, Parshas Chukas on Chav Aleph, and the Lashon is Maro Lismach Parshas Parah Duma Parshas Miriam Lalamdecha, to teach you Keshem Shepara Mechaperes Al Yisro Umetaheres Osam. It does both. Kach Misas Hatzadikim Mechaperes Umetaheres. Here you have a Medrash Lekach Tov. Now I mentioned in the past, you have also one of the Rishonim, one of the Baalei Yatzesis, the Paneach Raza, who has, like the Medrash Lekach Tov, both Gersos. The idea, like the Shultas told us as well in Shulta Kuflam Gimel, there's an Indian of Kapara, and what's the Bechin of Kapara? Like Taisa says, it's a Kapara for Maisa Egel. But let's not ignore Pashib Shat Barosh Rishona. It's coming not to, that's Derech Hagav, it'll be be a kapara for the Egel, but what's its lemetzias? And the metzias at the bottom, what's it by Iker coming to achieve? A tahara process to be ma'ala the Tomei Meis, mitum osel the tahara also. Zok the Paneach Razo. He says, first, a beautiful gematria. The pasuk reads, "Vatamas Shom Miriam." Why the superfluous mention of the word Shom? Vatamas Miriam. Might have given. I know if she died, then Pasha she died there. What's Vatamas Shom? Zok the Paneach Razo Shom is gematria 340, which is exactly in gematria Yesor Behana. Dahainu, there's a tzad when a tzaddik dies, a mesis asar behana. So Shom, Atama Shom, you should know she is Yesar behana. Gematria 340. But then he continues, V'nismechal parshas misas Miriam the Parah, Limro shagam misas tzadikim, mechaperes umitaheres kamo Parah. There are two aspects, two components of the Parah Duma. Number one, yes, like Taisus is coming to explain the Shver Loshen in the Gemara. It's not a Karban Chatas like every other Karban or an Osham that's coming B'Bechinas Kapara. It's coming to cleanse from Tumas Meis, the Icarus of Tahara. So what's the Musig of Kaparas of Taisus? Let's go back to the Shurish, to the Chet Egel. But Be'ikar it's what? Like the Yaras Davash, the Shiltas mentions both, the Menush like Yatzol Mefurish mentions both, as does the Paneach Raza, places them alongside one another. It's coming Mechaperes, like Taisus, Kapara Chet Egel, but it's coming. Number two, Mitaheres as a Tahara. It's coming to be Metaher from the Tumas Meis. So we have to understand why Dafka, and we asked this question in the past, why Dafka Misas Miriam? Not only that, you want to tell me, well, Parah Duma makes its way into Parshas Chukas, and Miriam happens to die in Parshas Chukas. And you know what? So does Aaron HaKohen. And more people know about this Parsha for Misas Aaron HaKohen than they do about Misas Miriam. The frat, when the only yahrzeit mentioned anywhere in the Chumash is the yahrzeit of Chodesh Av, the first day of Chodesh Av, and that's the only yahrzeit mentioned anywhere in the Chumash. And not only Vayivku Kol Beis Yisrael, as opposed to Moshe, as opposed to Aaron, everybody cried. Beautiful Meshach Chochmah, the famous Meir Simcha Levinsky. You know why everybody cried? Because nobody even killed B'Shogig B'Zman Aaron HaKohen. Now, when a tzaddik dies, B'Frat HaKohen Gadol dies, there are going to be a few people happy. Who's going to be happy in the world? Anyone who killed B'Shogig and had to go to Ir Miklat. What's going to get him out of Ir Miklat? The Mises Kohen Gadol, all the Mishnayos in the second parak of Akas Yudam, and all Mises Kohen Gadol. So even when a tzaddik a Gadol Hadar dies, but when a Kohen Gadol dies, Zoktameir Simcha Meshach Chachma, there'll be a few people who are happy, the ones who say, yes, we get out of here Miklat, we can go home. Teretz is Vayivku Kol Beis Yisrael Zoktameir Chachma. That's the Chiddush. There was nobody in the Tkuf of Aaron HaKohen because the Ava was so felt. It was so nishra. It's a peladik Chiddush because this is we're talking about someone who killed B'Shogeg. We're not talking about someone to kill a Mason, but the Ava was so promulgated worldwide, and it was so disseminated, it was so penetrated, and there was such widespread Ava, it wasn't even shaykh, everyone was careful, no matter what they were doing. How you lowly zar, when it comes to your miklat, you're going to be ever careful. You love every yid so much, you're going to be saying, you're going to do your utmost. And the Feiner said not to kill anyone, but Shogeg, there was no one that was happy, everybody was sad. All right, how do we celebrate Tu B'Av and the Shloshim of Aaron HaKohen? Something many before some deal with. Chaim Kaneski was asked in Das Noite, Chelik Beis on this week's parsha, and of course he answered, you can do both. You can have a Yom Tov Tu B'Av, and you can be mourning in the Shloshim of Aaron HaKohen at the same time. Al Koponim, if you're going to take a Misa of anyone and teach me this all-important lesson of Misas Tzadikim Sursus Kapara, then you know what? Why not save it for Parsha Zos HaBracha by Misas Moshe? You'll tell me, well, this is the Parsha Parah Duma, no problem. Then my Irker Kasha is a Misas Aaron HaKohen. Take the Misa of Aaron HaKohen. The same way Rav Loza in the very next line of the Gemara says that why is Parah Duma close to Big Day Kahuna, Ma Big Day Kahuna Mechaper, so to Misas Tzadikim is Mechaper. That's why Misas Aaron, put Aaron HaKohen's Misa by Parah Duma. Misas Miriam, how often? Nothing against women, but we're picking a woman to teach me that Misas Tzadikim. Now we have big Levayas by Eishes Chaver, by Choshev a woman, by even Tzadkonius of the Dar. But Rabbi said the biggest Levayas in history is Torah of Chaim Kanevsky's and or Shlomo Zalman Auerbach's and Ravaji Yosef's. In the end of the day, they might come out in crowds for Rebbetzin Bat Sheva, but it's in Ein Adarvis. Tell it to me by Aaron HaKohen. Why Dafka Miriam? Phineas Daiti, the secret is Gufa in the what the Medrash Achtov the Shiltis Rav Yonas and Eifshitz and already Paneach Raza, and what they're adding that's not simply an Indian of Mechaperes Fakir, the Ikar Indian is Mitaheres. So why are we bringing that from Miriam? So Phineas Daiti, an approach that I shared in the past, I think it's very geschmack. What's the Gadlus of Miriam? She was Miriam Hanaviyah, but what was the Iker Gadlus? We know the Gemara and Sota Yid Aleph from the base, and Rashi brings it as other Rishonim do. Ari B'Sachim Kavches Aves, Rabbi Shimon Levi Af Noshim the Chayos V'Dalakoses. Why? Because Afein Hayu B'Yos on Ace. Famous Shita, Rashi, the Rashbam, and many other Rishonim. Rashi seems to be still himself in different places, but Akapon Rashi brings from Sota Yid Aleph from the base. Famous member of Dora Sharav Avira, different eschos. Beschar Noshim Tzidkani Yoshahaya Biyoso Dor Nigalu. Nigalu Yesomi Mitzrayim. It's all because of the woman, but who was at the forefront? Who was at the forefront? The Isha Tzadekes B'Yoser, Miriam Hanaviyah. And it's very geschmack. How do we know her? We know her as Miriam Hanaviyah. We don't know him as Moshe Hanavi. We don't know him as Aaron Hanavi. We know him as Moshe Rabbeinu. And we know him as Aaron HaKohen, the Kohen HaGadol. But Miriam as Miriam Hanaviyah. Why? Famous Indian of Nevuah is based on the pasuk in Yeshaya's Loshen Nisvasayim, the idea of speaking. Gemara Tanenjan, a Navi who doesn't speak, who is Kovish Nevuah, so is what? Eschayev Misa, Eschayre Malav Akakilu Eschayv Benavsho. And who's the dogma for that? Yonah Navi. So I wanted to suggest Gavaldik. Why is Yonah Navi swallowed by a fish? Everybody knows the story in the Treyas are Yonah swallowed by a fish. Why is he swallowed by a fish? He can't have any other punishment. Phineas Daiti, Yonah is Yonah Navi. And the very essence of a Navi is Nivsvasayim. He's got to speak. He's got to convey the Nevuah. Ayin Pachar Yitzchak and Shavuos. The Iker distinction between the Chelak HaNeviim and the Chelak HaKsuvim is that Neviim is you were given this message to convey verbally to the Jewish people. Ksuvim is to write it down. So who is the dugma for all of history from time immemorial? Someone who was kovish and also Yonah, you're running away. I gave you a nevuah. You got to speak it out to the people. Yonah, who's Yonah Hanavi, is supposed to open up his mouth and speak. He gets swallowed by what? The fish. Maral and Netzach Yisrael Perklamates. There's only one creature that doesn't communicate via sound. Fish don't make noise. Fish don't communicate via sound. Givaldik. So Mela, what's the meaning? The Phineas Daiti, Yonah, who's given a message to open up his mouth and he keeps his mouth shut. The fish, which typically keeps its mouth shut, is going to open up its mouth to swallow up the ever silent Yonah. Yonah, Kovish also gets swallowed up by a fish. Oh, and by the way, how does he get to Nineveh? Yonah's Osios Nineveh, but it's Yonah's missing a nun. No problem. In Aramaic, what's a fish called? A nun. Fish is called a nun. Yonah, when you take Yonah and you give him a fish, Yonah plus a nun now makes his way to Nineveh, Osios Nineveh. Very good shema. Salkoponim, what do we have? Miriam as Miriam Hanaviyah. Notice how we have three matanas. We had the mon, the bear, and another cover. Tainus, Taftesim, and Aleph. We didn't sing a song on the mon. We didn't sing a song for another cover b'schus Aaron and not b'schus Moshe the mon. But we had a song. We say, why? Because the whole Indian of Miriam is Miriam Hanaviyah. Is the koach hadibur, is the koach hapeh. And there's no shira on the mon. There's no shira on another cover. But kishmak, there's a shira on the mayim b'schus Miriam. Ever take a note of the Lashon, the Osios, Miriam herself? What do you have in Miriam? You have the word Mayim and a Reish. Famous Ham Sefer, Kach Levimi, Toch B'nai Yisrael. What's the Toch B'nai Yisrael? What's the middle letter of the word Yisrael? The Reish, Zukta Sam Sefer. What is Reish? Reish Yud Shin, backwards, Shir, Shin Yud Reish. Leviim, Ikra Avodas Leviim was Bashir, Ramban Balaisa, Perches Pasuk Chafei. The Ikra Avodah was Bashir, Kachas Levim, Toch B'nai Yisrael. Take the Reish of Yisrael, turn it around, reverse it, and what do you have? Shir? That is the Remes to Kachas Levim, Toch B'nai Yisrael. What is Miriam? A Reish and Mayim. What's Reish? Shir. Gevaldik. What's the letters comprising Miriam's name? Miriam is Reish and Mayim. Reish Yud Shin, Shir Mayim, Shir Al HaMayim. Her whole essence is Be'etzem intertwined with the Shir Al HaMayim. So what's going on over here? Phineas Daiti, yes, b'schus natzim tzidkani Yeshua Dor Nigaldo. Our Rabbi said, who's at the helm? Who's at the forefront of all the natzim tzidkaniyas? It's Miriam Hanaviyah. And she says, Derech Nevuah, at least according to Chaim Kaneski, of Yaakov, and Emes Yaakov, learns it was Bini Yisera. Who's the one who brought the Moshe Rabbeinu into the world? Who's the one? Let's go to Sota Yud Beis Amin Aleph. What happens? Amram was Gol Hador Haya. And what did he do? He saw that Parah was Gozer Kol Beina Yidilo Lo Yor Teshlechu. So he says, Amad V'Garash Hashish Ishto. Everybody else followed suit. Miriam comes out, Amalo Bito, what are you doing? You're worse than Parah. Parah goes, you'll know the Gemara Sota Yerbesim and Al. And Mela, what's her godless? She opened up her mouth. No one's willing to open up his or her mouth to challenge that Tzaddik, the Golador, Shamson, and Haim, and Beis Amram listed as one of the four was Mesa, Etcher, Shanach. She never sinned this whole life. This wasn't a sin, like Rabbi Yaakov says. He paskin with the Dayanim. Alongside him, he was part of the Messiah in the Rambam Magdom and Parashah to his Mishnah Torah. He paskin, and comes Miriam, her Nevuah or Bina Yisera, and what does she? She opens up her mouth, Miriam Hanaviyah, and she relates, Gavaldig and Nevuah, you have to keep the husbands and wives together again. They got to stay together. So now, very geschmack. While we can understand the Feiner Daiti, what's Miriam doing in the end of Parshas Balois? The famous Kasha, Miriam saying Lashon Hara? No. What was her godless? Then when Amram, my father, the God Ador, divorced his wife, everyone else followed suit. I'm the one who told the world you got to keep husband and wife together. Husband and wife stay together. Mamela, they give birth to Moshe and Yisrael, and the entire Geula is b'schus Miriam. So Miriam says now Moshe Rabbeinu is taking over the helm. He's the new God Hadar. He's taking over the place of Amram. He's Kilu divorcing his wife in the sense that and Moshe Pirish Isha. L'chara we can understand to be Yorin the self das of Miriam Anavia that she's thinking this is Moshe. It's instant replay. It's the same thing happening all over again. And I'm the one to say Klai. So the opening of my mouth, I have to open up my mouth. Nachamo, to let the world know, Moshe, you got to go back to Tzipora, because if you're going to be Poresh Miyishtecha, L'chara like Amram, everyone's going to follow suit. We're not going to cry yourself. Miriam, what was her toss? Kafi Otzem Madrigusa. Her toss was Amram was and Moshe is a suga from the council. Moshe spoke to Hashem Pel. They're not going to stone to. No one's going to learn from Moshe, but that was her intent to L'chara. So now very geschmack. What do we have? Miriam. Miriam is essential. Mon's good. It's a beautiful thing to have. So then they're covered. But the basic essential staple of our existence is Mayim. That's Miriam. That's the Neshei Yisrael. And that is Miriam. So now it's very geschmack. How do husbands get together with the wives? You need a mikvah. Where do they have a mikvah? In the midbar. Where do they have a mikvah? Zok Rabbeinu Yo in the Sefer HaMazim, B'schus Miriam. We had the Be'erisha Miriam. Notice it's not called the Mon of Moshe. It's not called the covenant of Aaron. But you see that the Be'er Miriam is so be'etzim intertwined with the core essence, the Etzim Osef of Miriam. That while it's not called the Mon Shel Moshe, nor is it called the covenant of Aaron, it's called Be'era Shel Miriam Be'etzem, because she is Mayim. What was the Mayim? Zoktor Ben Yoel, one of the Rishonim and Sefer HaMazim. Mayim Lishtos Bo, Mayim Litbo Bo. Where did they have mikvah? A husband can't be united with his wife without a mikvah. It's B'schus Miriam they had a mikvah. Why? Because Miriam is the one, the Feiner Daiti, who puts Amram back together with Yocheved and they produce Moshe. She's the one, the Shem Shemayim, who talks about the Moshe being Poresh from Tzipora. You got to get together. It's the mikvah that puts husband and wife together. She's the one to give us a mikvah. What does a mikvah do? It's metaher, geschmack. Metaher. Let's go back to Menush Lekov to Paneach Raza. Shiltas Kuflav Gimel Ma Paraduma Mechaber Umetaheres. It's a tahara. Where do we have tahara? May mikvah. Who gave us May mikvah? Miriam. Said Stavka Misas Miriam. But it gets even better now. Lafini Estaiti. What's the whole lineage of the tahara of the Paraduma? Rabbi say Paraduma is matar from Tumas Meis. Where's the first remes to Tchiyas Amesim when we're going to be Mafkia? Misa from this world. Where's the first remez? Sanhedrin, Tzadi Aleph, and Beis Rabbi Meir. Az Yosher Moshe. Amikan remez et Chesamesim Natar Rashi cites the Mechilta. Az it should be Ashur. What's Az Yosher Loshen Osid? Mikan remez et Chesamesim. Gishmak. Where's the first remez et Chesamesim? By Mayim. Whose godless was Mayim? Miriam. Her godless was the Rokech. Vayamaru Eschayim. She stood by the Mayim. She spoke by the Mayim, and is the one who told Bas Yabas Parah, you got to get your the birth of Moshe and Shaiso. Moshe was only engendered Ayadei Miriam, opening up her mouth as Miriam Hanaviyah. Niv Svasaim. She opens up her mouth and gets Amram to take Yocheved back, and they produce Moshe. Moshe's life is on the line, no problem. Miriam opens up her mouth again. Miriam Hanaviyah speaks to Bas Yabas. Bold move for a young little girl to speak up to the princess of the land. Say, I know a woman. Yocheved matches it up, and Moshe can be Yonik, he can become Moshe Rabbeinu. And then the first remes is by Mayim, and the godless of Miriam is by Mayim. But it gets even better. Where's the remes? Az Yosher Moshe. What happens to Miriam? Miriam, whose koach is the koach hapeh, gufa, in the context of Shira. We don't find that anyone else led them in Shira except for whom? Matan lehem Miriam. Matan lehem Miriam. Shina starts Kufa where? In the first remes of Tchias HaMesim and Atayra. So whose Misa is going to be by Parah Duma, which is Ma'aleh, someone from Tumas Mace to take you from Tuma to Tahara. Just like Tchias HaMesim is Mafkiel, the whole Musig, and bringing you back to Dargas on Risha Konachei. Before there's a Musig of Misa in the world, the Feiner state of Miriam Anavia, Kochapesh, she opens up her mouth like never before, and she leads the woman in Shira, Tchias HaMesim. It's Dafka Lefini Estaiti, Ma Misas Miriam, Mitaheres, you bet. Mitaheres, she is Tahara, in her merit. We have the Mikvah, which is a whole Indian of Tahara. Tchias HaMesim, the Memela, Misas of Tzadikim, as Mataher, Dafka, the one who teaches us that Yesod, as Miriam Hanaviyah B'Schuso, we had the Mayim, which is Mataher, we had the Mikvah, Tchias HaMesim, and Atayra by Batalna, Miriam by Shiras, Hayam Alamayim Bedafka. That's the Galus of Miriam. That's the Shia for tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Gavaldi the rest of the weekend.